Hi, I'm Marcos Lobo, and this is the Optimist Engineer. Today, from big to small tech company. It's my pleasure to have Alberto Carrasco Montenegro for driving this session today. Alberto is Sessions Software Engineer at the company TheCodeLives. Alberto, welcome to the Optimist Engineer, and thank you for coming today.
Hello, Marcos. How are you, my good friend? I'm really excited to be here today, and thanks a lot for inviting me.
I'm super excited to have you in this journey, another journey on which I involve you.
Yeah.
We know each other since a long time, and every time that I ask you, Alberto, are you willing to? And just before finishing the sentence, you say yes. So that's an extra thank you for you to be today here.
Absolutely. You know how much I love this kind of stuff. Always ready for a TED talk.
Exactly. So let's have some fun. So Albert, I have some interesting question for you, right?
Okay.
All of this episode is to illustrate a little bit to the audience. What are let's say, the things that could drive a person to move from a company like a tech company that is kind of big, like 1,000 people, something like that, to something smaller? Because uh, sometimes we think that, or we see that software engineers and people in this career path, we are moving to one company to a bigger one, and from there to another big one, and so
Yeah.
on. But there are some moments on which we see people doing, I don't want to say the opposite right, but a different right, moving to companies that are much more small, right? But first thing first, Alberto, could you briefly tell to the audience where do you come from and what are you doing nowadays?
Well, as you mentioned, my name is Alberto. I've been working in the software industry for quite a time already. I would say like 15 years or so, mostly in developer software development positions, working as a software engineer. Yeah, as you mentioned, just to put a bit of context for the audience, it is correct. I worked for not for many companies, I would say, because I'm more of a, let's say, long-term contract guy, at least so far. But at least I worked for, let's say, 3, 4 companies, and the contrast in the size of these companies has been huge. I mean, passing from companies with thousands of employees to companies with just a few of them, or let's say 100 or even less. So yes, I think it's kind of an interesting topic. Probably have something to say to the audience that are interested in see how this changes and switch of let's say professional path comes up. So yeah, let's go for it.
That's great. So nowadays you are working as a senior software engineer in TheCodeLives. What are your main duties nowadays in this
Well, in
company?
this case, yes. In relation with the main topic of the talk, in this case, it's a very small company. Let's say right at this moment we are less than 20 people. Let's say a little bit more than 10 people. So in this kind of situations, I'm doing more stuff that I'm supposed to be doing, or I have done in previous roles. In this case, not only as a software development, I'm working not only as a software developer at the moment, but also I'm assuming other kind of roles as team leader, link with the product side, product strategy, scrum masters, quality testing. Let's say a one-man band. In a way, because when you don't have quite a lot of people, you need to simply assume some other kind of responsibility because of your maturity or your experience in my case, right? So yeah, that's the current situation. In briefly explain. Yeah.
So actually, maybe you made one of the most important differences, right, between a company like the one that you are working nowadays and other companies that you passed through in the past that were more uh, bigger, let's say, right? You said now I'm one boy band, but we see and we know that it's not the case when you are working in a bigger company, right?
Yeah, correct. When you go to companies that are smaller, there's usually a lot to do. I mean, are still many things that haven't been considered or that they don't have the let's say the workforce to do so. Departments that don't even exist, and you really need on a daily basis. Let's talk about IT or quality or delivery or things like that. So that kind of stuff is not done in a smaller company, but normally you have that kind of structure already in place in bigger organizations where they have specific people and expert people as well dedicated to that kind of stuff. So yeah, that is probably the first thing that you find when you go to a smaller company is probably that you find like, well, what is this and that and that thing. It's like you feel that there are things that are missing, not because people maybe don't care, but maybe because the company don't have the time or the people or the resources because it's starting up at the moment and you just go one day after another and doing your best because you need to use all the things that you are in your power, but of course there's a lot to do. So yeah, it's kind of a compromise, let's say.
Correct. Correct. Let's take one step back. When you were working in a bigger company than the one that you are working today, what would be the main challenges that you can enumerate in a company like the one that you worked before, just before going to this place?
Yeah, well, in bigger companies, usually, just as I mentioned a moment ago, it's like the opposite. I mean, you find that there are a lot of things in place already. So you usually need to, for instance, to take this kind of preliminary trainings, onboarding weeks and onboarding sessions that the company gives you in order to have, a better context about how the company works, how the people works in the workplace on a daily basis, and all the things the important stuff you need to do to simply get up to speed during your first days. And there is a lot to, as I say, to pick up, in terms of, well, we have this kind of procedures, for instance, in terms of quality, we have this kind of procedures. You need to contact this kind of department. This is the person to go for this kind of stuff and things like that. You feel that you are put in an environment where the main actors are already, let's say, acting. So you need to get to know them, and that takes some time. And that probably, is good in a way because you have, let's say, like some kind of instructions already in place. Is that somebody is giving you already the rules of the game, and that's good in a way. But on the other hand, it's like, well, just simply following the steps. It's like sometimes you lack some creativity and you start to think, well, maybe this could be done in a better way, or perhaps I would do this in a different way. But, of course, when you face and you get into a bigger company, you have to assume that there are many things that are already in place, and you need to, of course, you can probably talk to people and propose new things or changes and stuff. But there are a lot of stuff that the company is already used to work with, and that you need to absorb during your first day. So probably that's one of the first challenges right from the first day that you join the company.
And actually, that could be something either good or not so good. I mean, having all this boilerplate in place,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that has plenty of benefits. I don't know what is your vision about that. Do you see that as something good? The fact that, for example, there is already in place a framework for QA or for implementing microservices or to deploy it in production, or in the other way around, maybe is something that is not beneficial, or in which cases would be good or not so good?
I would say when the procedures, let's say all the processes already in place and let's say rules, departments, documentation, all that stuff like that is the proper one or the expected one. It's not like simply putting something to get it out of the way and let's go to the next one. No, if you have quality processes, if you have quality documentation, if you have quality people in charge of the stuff, that's a good thing because let's be realistic, all the tough things that you mentioned, like delivery stuff, quality, that takes a while and and a big while sometimes, a long while. So it's something good to have. You have the proper ones. It's something that you as a newcomer can, probably say, well, this is amazing. When you see everything working around you and it's like okay, this is good. The quality is good. The environment is good. They are going in the right direction. I can feel that, especially, and you can see that when you have some experience and you have seen already some stuff in the industry, you can see that, and you can tell very, very easily if the company is doing well in terms of quality or delivery or development processes, whatever. So I would say that the company is going in the right direction is good, is something good because it saves a lot of time, and people is going to appreciate it when joining the company. But of course, taking the assumption that the company needs to be always with an open mind because probably people joining, either they are experienced or not, they have another vision and it's important to be open to new ideas because it doesn't matter. We have been doing this for 10 years and that's fine. And many people may work well with that, but maybe you need sometimes a wider idea about how people is working in other places, right? So, and that's the things that many times the newcomers can bring to the table, no? New ideas, new vision, and the feedback should be always welcome for the company, even if they have the processes in a very mature stage. So.
Cool. So we are exploring a little bit how is the situation, how is working a company like for 1,000 people. But again, sometimes someone decides to drop that and move to something smaller, small startup or whatever. So people could think, okay, but why? What is the decision? What is the motivation underneath for a professional like a senior software engineer to go to something smaller?
Well, I'm going to speak for my experience at least, right? So because I've been in bigger and in smaller companies, probably what I would say that today, or at least at this moment of my life, I could say that I am more of a smaller companies guy. Why? Because well, I've been in the two sides, and the thing is, I've been in two sides mostly. In the bigger ones, I've been in the bigger companies when they were not so big. So I had a chance to have a good taste of how the things are when companies are not so big, even for big companies, So when you are in that kind of stages, when you can feel that the company already have like 100 people, things like that, that there is not everything in place, but there is a big deal of stuff already in place, and it's you have quite a lot of muscle in terms of people and resources, but there's still a lot of to do especially for the to stick to the company OKRs and the company vision. So the big thing for me is that when there are many things to do, and you join companies in very early stages, the impact that you can do is huge. It's like there is no anything in the middle. You don't have like a lot of overhead from if we talk about management, if we talk about processes, if we talk about, let's say, technological bureaucracy in general, things that may stop you from being in the, making an impact, a real impact in the market with the company's product. So that's something that you are going to definitely lose when the company gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. For the only reason that when the company gets bigger, you get more people, and when you get more people, things go slower. You have one person to go to for you to accept this kind of stuff, and then another one to validate this other stuff, and then another one to coordinate with the other one to do that other stuff. And that's in a way can be good because sometimes it may add some quality to the process and the company as a whole. But on the other hand, the impact that an individual can do, is let's say gets a bit limited in that kind of situation. You can do an impact, of course, but perhaps the perception that you can have is that the process is slower than it was when the company was smaller. For instance, when you get to a company that is small, then there are just 5-10 people. You right from the first day, you need to assume, as I mentioned before, some even extra responsibilities on your side. Like, well, I'm usually not in charge of quality, but well, okay, let's do it because I have the knowledge. I've done people doing that, and I know what a proper, let's say, quality framework should look like. So, okay, I will assume that temporarily because no one else can do it. So you feel that the impact is huge for the first day. You can do a lot of stuff, different stuff to provide to the company. And also that stuff that is going to have an impact immediate, I would say. So that's one of the main things. If we want to summarize, technically speaking, or speaking of the joy of developing or programming or whatever you want to call it from a technical perspective, that's one of the things that when you get to join a smaller company are going to always to enjoy the most. The fact that there's still a lot to do, and you got everything to do. You can do whatever you want because there's not going to be anybody else limiting you because there's nobody else. So you have to do it. You either do it and keep afloat, or you do it. You either don't do it, and let's see how it goes. So yeah, it's riskier for sure, but yeah, I think it's a matter of exciting or enjoyment of those early ages when you have control over pretty much everything, or you are responsible for more things than when everything is perfectly structured, the company is bigger, things like that.
Tell me your opinion about the next sentence. When we are in a big company, we are numbers, and when we are in a small company, we are human beings.
Well, I have to be totally honest. I must say that I have a tendency to think that that's true, mostly true. Not saying because big companies are bad or are, let's say, organized by bad people or whatever. But the thing is, for the simple fact that there are so many people, as the more people you have, the less time you have to take care about them. You can always put in place things to make employees happy, and I know that big companies do that a lot. But in reality, there's no real time to, I'm not gonna go one by one to ask in particular if they are happy with this thing or this other thing, or listening for feedback. Still, you can have some feedback, email or application put in place, but still, maybe the process is faster, so you can still gather feedback, but you have such an amount of feedback that maybe you don't have the people to analyze that feedback and digest it in a way that it properly can benefit the company. So yes, I am agree with that sentence with the thing of the number, because it's not that you don't care, but it's maybe you can pass, let's say, overseen in a way. Nobody's, let's say, paying attention all the time to you as somebody could do in a smaller company that they know that you are a very critical, let's say, resource for the company. When you are 5 people, everyone is important. Everyone is in every single conversation. And where is this guy? We are just 5 of us, and today, there are just 4 of us. So, okay, what is this guy? Why is missing? Is he okay? So when you are, many people, the responsibility, let's say, is better distributed. Is good for another staff, of course. So the responsibility can get appropriately distributed. The backup strategies is easier to get to put in place. When imagine when you have somebody sick or when you need to redistribute resources along different projects and things like that. You don't have that when the company is smaller. So yeah, still that's the reality of things. You win some things and lose some things. And I guess that the thing that maybe not that you don't care, but that you are one more in, let's say, hundreds of thousands of people. I think that's true. And that doesn't happen in that way when the company is smaller.
Is everything gold and shiny in a small company, in a small startup company?
No, for sure not. I mean, as I always say, when people ask me about, but why do you like that? Because usually, as I think I mentioned before, the word risky. And I think that's a very important term that is related with startup companies or a smaller company, the risk. I mean, to me, a startup company or a very small project is done for people that maybe they don't care that much about the risk in that at the moment of the company. Maybe they say, well, I'm going to join that company. Maybe in a month it's closed or we go down for whatever reason because, we run out of money or because suddenly our product, we discovered our product is not that as fancy as we thought, whatever. So there is always a risk, and but on the other hand, if this kind of adrenaline of knowing that maybe it's not everything for sure, it's not everything granted, it's something that pushes you to give your best. And also on the other hand, it is true that when you join a company in a very early stage, the joy of programming is everywhere. I mean, because there are still probably many things to put in place. The coding is one of the main tasks that need to be put in place because maybe the company has a lot of ideas and the product is very clear, but you need to execute it and you need to execute it in a timely manner, in a way that you can attract investors or that maybe you can put the product in the market. So yeah, it's kind of something exciting that maybe some people can like, but it's not for everyone, of course. Yeah.
That's super insightful, the things that you are mentioning, Alberto, because it's really useful for us, the people that we are listening to you. How do you explain the differences, right? So basically, I try to enumerate a little bit some of the difference or the biggest difference that you mentioned. The first one, and you mentioned it a couple of times at least, is about impact. Having impact is something that is really visible in a smaller company. Of course, you can have impact in a bigger company, but yeah, it's more critical in a smaller one, as you said. Where is Alberto and why is in PTO today, right? In a small company. Also, you mentioned the risk. It's a different thing, right? When you're working in a startup company, rather than in a big company. And also, you mentioned bureaucracy. Bureaucracy, I detected another difference. I don't know if you can highlight any other difference or you want to make an extra point on one of those.
I think that pretty much covered the main ones. So yeah, that incidentally, if you see these kind of stories about the classic startup like Facebook or Uber or things like that, the garage story, it's pretty much is the same, but it's not about being in California or garages, but it's the nature of the business. If you started up with just some few people and you have an idea and you decide to go for it just with some limited resources and money, well, it's always the same. It doesn't matter the location, it doesn't matter the kind of product. It's just the nature of the business or the activity that you want to put in place, or the way you do your job on a daily basis, right? That is different to the classic. Let's go to the office, the big building with 1,000 people and everything well structured, everyone, dressing the same with everything absolutely structure and organize is just another way to work. But the main difference you highlighted very well. Yeah.
That's great. So now I want to we are almost reaching out the end of the session of the episode, but I wanted to bring an interesting topic. I mean, interesting topic, at least a buzzword, AI, artificial intelligence, right?
Yeah.
You and I, we talk about this and doing nothing actually, but talking a lot about the artificial intelligence in the past.
Yeah.
And I can imagine that this new technology that is coming along can be seen from a different point of view, either from a big company or a smaller company. So yeah, the question is why is pretty open for you, Albert. How do you see the artificial intelligence in the world of software engineer? Are you using it? Do you see value in that? How do you see this?
Well, in my case, especially during this last year when I joined my last company, I'm working. Well, our product, the nature of our product, is really, really related to AI. So, I mean, our product involves doing a lot of OCR stuff for voice recognition or NLP processing or sentiment analysis, things like that. So, for me, has become, let's say, like a set of tools that I've been obligated to use on a daily basis, even though this kind of technologies is not something new in the game. Let's say they've been around for quite some time already. But also, if we talk about the most trendy stuff that is, everybody's listening about ChatGPT or things like that, that is probably, generating the bigger buzz these days, even for developers, because it's not only just some stuff. I mean, if you go to the forums around of people just flipping out with AI, generating images or videos or even trailers of movies. So it's amazing what they are able to do. But if we talk about the professional, simply about the professional environment, let's say that today the ChatGPT stuff and all the prompt programming that is coming up with it is, let's say, one of the trendiest things that we have on the table, because it can, in a way, be totally game changing. The way we develop the world, the industry is going to relate to the workers, the way that what kind of workforce is going to be needed in the nearby future. And I have to say that myself, that yeah, we have it inside the company. We use it for some kind of tasks. Myself, I can see that people use it very widely, for instance, for documentation tasks. That is, has demonstrated to be very, very efficient for that, because I don't know, for whatever reason, ChatGPT, for instance, or similar engines are very, very efficient to generate efficient and, let's say, accurate to generate documentation with some particular characteristic, but also for the programming stuff. Even though I don't feel that confident at the moment for that. I tried that myself for several times. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not that good. Especially to give you some example, for instance, working with some, let's say, Python module that works with some, needs to work with some kind of AI model with some particular PyTorch technology. You ask him to generate the code, and he assumes that you have the model already in place, and make some assumptions that perhaps if you have that already, it could be fine to ready to go. But in reality, it's not practical. So I still find that there are things that there's a room for improvement for some stuff. I wouldn't put in production code simply generated by the AI right now. So I guess for the first step, probably it's going to be a mix of people driving the AI and people at the same time reviewing what the AI is doing, because right at this moment, I wouldn't trust just to put some code that I haven't checked. We are skipping a lot of steps of the software development. Of course, all the models, the technology for AI evolves, and they are going to be better and better. But right at the moment, I find that probably the first stage of this is using these technologies, these prompt technologies to, for instance, to develop software directly is going to be kind of a mixed task of do, saying to the AI what to do and some kind of supervision by the developers or software engineers. But it's exciting. It's exciting. It's probably going to change. I can see that, and I don't see that happening in 10 years, probably in 5 or less. But yeah, it's coming, and the way that the paradigm of the industry and the way the software is done is going to change in a dramatic way. I think in a matter of years and not very many years.
I cannot wait the time of artificial intelligence generating some code and putting some Easter egg or something like that, and you go to the GitHub and do the blame and see Copilot did that, and you say, "Whoa, really? Doing Easter eggs in the code, really?"
Exactly. It's a very sensitive topic because it's like software is around. It's all around. I mean, everything is software today. Since the cashier machines in the supermarket till the computers that are directing the planes for landing, for instance. So you need to really trust that kind of technology. You cannot simply say, well, let's leave the AI to do this. That's probably going to be let's say, the future. But you really need to have. There are a lot of related topics that needs to be explored as well at the same time, like ethics or in the systems to test that every system is acting for the better good of the people and this kind of stuff, efficiency, things like that. I mean, because just with very simple examples that you can extract from today, you can say that it's quite amazing what you can do. But if we leave aside all the wow effect of the let's generate movies, let's generate images, which is amazing. But if we are talking about real development, I mean, generating whole systems just automatically by AIs, probably is going to take a bigger effort, and we need to be more careful, I think.
Definitely. Albert, we are reaching out the end of the interview. I would love to keep talking with you, but maybe we can do in a next session. But before leaving, I would love if you could share with the audience like 1, 2, or 3 tips, some advices, pieces of advice, either technology or whatever you consider, with the audience.
Okay, I mean, in relation with this, with the size of the company or in general, like
To you.
guru style.
Up to
Well,
you.
I mean, I think one of them, I mean, the main advice that I would give to people that are interested in software industry would be it doesn't matter if it's a big company or a small company, for instance, but one of the things that's always driven to me in relation with work is that, well, I think we software developers, software engineers, people working in the software industry are privileged enough because there are so many possibilities, so many opportunities, so many different things to do. You have a lot of choice. Sometimes you don't, but generally speaking, you are faced to look for a job. Maybe you have like several options that you can at least have a chance. I wouldn't say that you are going to have every single company begging for you, but you usually have like several chances when you are in the search of any position. So I would say that the main in relation with that, and my main let's say what is driven my career all the time, it's been let's say the joy. I mean, you always choose the fun. I mean, whatever is gonna make you happier. I mean, for other people, it can be another things. It can be the money. It's totally okay. But your career is driven by the money. If that's what makes you happy. But if it's not important, for instance, you always look for whatever is gonna make you happier, whatever is gonna enjoy on a daily basis, because at the end of the day, you're gonna be doing that for quite some time. And okay, it's better if you are happier doing that. So yeah, whatever the kind of company, the kind of business, try, not to be hurtful with others and just have fun. Yeah.
That's actually a really good advice. Thank you, Albert, for sharing. Brilliant. Alberto, Senior Software Engineer at TheCodeLives. Thank you so much for having your time with us today. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. It's been a pleasure and has gone very, very fast. We need to schedule another day, yeah, for sure.
Bye bye.
See you. Bye bye.